take the ride. So let's talk MTG and take the ride. For more fun, you better subscribe. You never want to miss the vibe. Hatcher is the master of MTG lore. Live streams and videos are never a bore. Streams are fun and super chaotic. You'll be back as it's all hypnotic. Come hang out, let's battle for Lord of the Board. Hatcher's got the insights, he's got us all on board. In the world of magic, the gathering needs a master and a guide. So let's talk MTG and take the ride. For more fun, you better subscribe. You never want to miss the vibe. Scrolling through my feed, looking for a good time. Hatcher on YouTube, dropping truth and rhyme. Passion for magic, he's playing the cards right. Live stream so funny, keeping us up all night. fun, you better subscribe. You never won't miss the vibe.
Bum bum billy boo, it's the Wonders Historian. Hello! Hello! And honestly, I literally never get tired of that. It's awesome. It's genuinely enjoyable. Hello! Oh. So, it has been asked before whether I was going to do any kind of like learn to play style video for Wonders. And it has been on the agenda, but back it up. But I haven't really 100% fleshed out exactly how I want to do it. So in the meantime, I figure we do this basic flow that will teach you a lot of what you need to know. It's just not going to be the tight little package that a proper learn to play video will be. So that will be forthcoming, and this is part of the process of actually helping me sort out the way that I want to do that. But first things first, let's share the live stream link, do our hellos, and then we shall have ourselves a discussion on flows. All right? Bum, 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 bum. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. I realized I didn't have the proper thumbnail on the stream at first, and it was talking about existence. And it's like, no, this is the basic flow of a Wonders game. And it's, yeah, okay, there we go. It's properly labeled, everything, we're good. Don't want to have this under the wrong thumbnail or title. And then when somebody asks, I direct them to it. And it's like, good luck finding it, buddy. Good luck. All right, so hellos are in order. What's up to Fairy, Jess, Everyday, Vloggerino, Yamagoro, Shelton, Lasagna, Juglum, Zircon, Death, Randomness. I think I covered everybody. Hello to everybody and any assembled lurkers as well. Welcome to my basic flow of how to play Wonders. So we're gonna ease our way into this. I've got a pile of cards that I'm gonna use to show you the different cards and stuff like that. But we're gonna start out talking about obviously like the idea behind the game in terms of how you win and stuff like that. What up, Sum? How's it going? So this game is really simple in terms of a win con. Unlike other card games where you're generally, come on now, back it up. Stop it. Unlike other card games, or a lot of them at least, where your goal is to reduce your opponent's health to 0 and just knock him out of the game, that is not how this game works. You want to control the most stones to win the game. So at the end of the game, whoever has the most stones is the winner, right? Yamagoro, we will get into that. I'm not going to jump ahead and start, I'm not going to answer random questions in the middle here. We'll get to that when we get to the card types and stuff like that, but you will get an answer to that question, okay? I'm just going to do this in a way that I think kind of stacks your knowledge. So before we talk about individual card types, we're just going to talk about the overall concept. So what you want to do is control the most stones. The easiest way to do that is to use your dudes to attack in the game to claim stones. Okay? So that's the basic concept. You are going to be battling over a total of 7 different stones, but it gets a little bit interesting in terms of you don't actually have to battle over all 7. If it turns out that like 5 of them are uncontrolled by like nobody has them and you have 2, you still win. You just have to have more stones than your opponent. Okay? So that's the basic idea. Now, the game uses a particular layout. I've got a playmat here, but I'm actually going to put an image up on the screen. So just thought I'd show you. Here's what... Oh. Come on. Come on. What was that? What the hell was that? Okay. The camera's a dickhead, man. Can you just stay still, camera? Okay. Like, woo! So long! Like, okay. Here's the playmat. All right, so notice you've got these little circles at the top. You've got these lanes down here, right? So these are your realms. And then down on either side. You know what? Let me just put I'm going to put an image of this up on the screen, okay? All right. So here's an image of the actual, like this is the same thing as the playmat. So at the top here, you've got the little 7 slots. That's where your stones are going to go. So in terms of the stones, I'll show you what I have here. One second. We'll switch the camera angle down for a second. When you go to play this game, you're going to want to have 7 stones. You can use whatever you want to represent the stones. If you don't like, if you get a starter kit, then it comes with, it doesn't come with these dice, but it does come with a little like bag of stones, right? So you've got 7 stones. So these are what you're going to be battling over, right? And these are what go at the top slot on that playmat, right? So if you look at the little circles, little circles up here at the top, that's where at the beginning of the game, that's where like all your stones are going to go. Okay? So you basically pull out your playmats. Your opponent will have one as well. So on either side of the board, it'll like, this is just one person's playmat. So the way this game works is you actually only get to unlock 1 realm per round. So at the start of the game, there's only going to be 1 realm open. Now, it doesn't have to be this one. It can be on either side of the board. It's completely irrelevant which end you start at. But the way the game works is whoever is going first gets to play first. Whoever is going second chooses what end of the board like you start on. Now, I literally have not conceived of a single difference in terms of starting on one end or the other. There is no strategic advantage to it. So as far as I've seen so far, it's pretty much irrelevant, but I guess it's literally just a way of letting your opponent feel like they're doing something at the beginning. I don't really know why. I guess it's just like you have to pick one end or the other. So it's like, okay, I'm going first, so you get to decide where we start. But you only have 1 realm open on the first turn, okay? So basically what happens is you can only play cards into 1 realm, right? That's it. Just 1 realm is where you start. You can battle there for the stones. Stop it, camera. God, I'm not inviting you in. Stop fucking zooming. Oh my God. Okay, so how does it work? I'm going to switch the camera down now, and we're going to pretend like, well, you know what? I guess, hold on. Before I do that, I just want to point out, you got 2 little slots on either end at the bottom here. One's for your deck, and one's for your discard pile, which is called the Abyss in this. If you're thinking, we might use interchangeable Magic terms here since a lot of us play Magic, right? So basically, one's your graveyard, one's your library, okay? So your deck goes on one side, your graveyard goes on the other. Your choice doesn't matter. Abyss on one side, deck on the other, okay? And then these 2 little slots down here at the bottom, these little squares down here, That's where you're going to keep track of your actions and energy. Actions are the number of things you can do. Energy is what you spend to play cards. Okay? So those are your main actionable resources. I should not have said actionable. That's stupid. Those are your main resources. Okay? All right. New stream name, Hatcher yells at camera. Yeah, I mean, obviously. Okay. So now we're going to switch to the camera view facing downwards. All right. And, well, hold on. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay. So just kind of picture that this is your little like lane area from that playmat that we just looked at. Okay. So that's the lane area. So up at the top, there is your little stone. And this is essentially between both players at this point. Once you claim the stone, you get to move it down into that little dot at the top of your like realm lane. But until you do that, it's just kind of up in the no man's land, right? Up there waiting to be claimed by either player. Now, how do you claim them? You attack. That's what you do. So let's talk about how you attack and what you use to attack. So let me find a very, very basic. I have a very basic, like vanilla guy with no abilities, which is where I wanted to start. But I didn't organize these cards or anything because this is like a rough and ready kind of. Here we go. There's a vanilla guy. I think I actually have two. Okay, here we go. We got two vanilla guys. Bo Falcon, the camera goes berserk. Hatcher insults it. You're damn right. I keep things in line with my words. Okay, guys, so here we have two different instances of vanilla creatures. So they have flavor attacks, but they have no abilities. And the breakdown of a card goes like this. For those of you who care, the rarity is down here. So this is an uncommon. But the gameplay elements that matter are your cost, your power, and then also this information along the side here. It's probably easier to read or see that. You can see the text slightly better for that on this card. So whatever. Anyway, that's not, this stuff is only important in very specific circumstances versus the rest of the card. So for cost, that's how much energy it costs to play the card, right? Like I said, you have energy and action. So for cost, 7 power. It's pretty straightforward. He's got 7. This dude is 1 cost and 3 power. And below the power you have, this is the orbital symbol. This basically like I mean, if you want to think about them in colors, you can do that too, right? But these represent the orbital, the faction, whatever. That's how it goes. That's how it goes, right? So basically there's 6 different groups that have these little orbital symbols. And technically you can mash them all together if you want to, because there's no, like, you don't get energy of particular orbitals. Your energy is interchangeable. So you just use energy for everything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that this guy is boundless and this guy is umbrathine when it comes to your energy. All right? Millmaster, you're late. That joke was already made. It was already made. How much energy do you start with? Good question. You start with 1 energy on the first turn. It's a really simple formula. Your energy increases each turn, where you get a number of energy equal to the turn that it is, plus the number of stones you control. So on the second turn, you get 2 energy plus 1 for the stone. Like if you controlled the stone, then you would, on the second turn, you'd have 2 energy because it's turn 2 plus 1 for the stone. Okay? All right. So basically, obviously, at the beginning, you're only going to be able to play little donks like this, right? So how it works is if your opponent has out by the way, these guys are called wonders. The creatures in this game, the monsters in this game, the dudes, the donks, they are called wonders, okay? So remember that. That's what you need to know. So if your opponents don't have any wonders out, then when you attack, it don't matter. You automatically win the fight because there is nobody to fight you back. So if you win a fight, then you get to go, boom, this stone is my stone. However, your opponent can also attack and just seize it right back from you. So you will end up battling back and forth over them. And let's say, for example, you have this setup where you've got a 3-power guy and your opponent has a 7-power guy. Well, your attack is not going to succeed. But unlike in other games, these guys don't actually destroy each other. So if I, for some reason, decided, let's say there's another card that actually cared about me attacking, and I wanted to attack even though I was going to lose, I can still attack into this guy, and I will not lose my guy. You don't, all you do is you compare the power totals, and as long as you have more power, you win the fight, and you seize the stone. So now you have that stone. So that's the basic idea, is you want to seize as many stones as you can. The simplest way to do that is to attack with your donk boys. Donk boys, we like stones. Oh yeah, baby, right? So that's the idea. You want to send your donks in to grab the stones. So how do you attack? You can expend one of your actions to attack. So every turn, you get 3 actions, and they can be spent to either play cards, they can be spent to attack, or you can spend an action to draw a card. You have those. There's another thing too, using abilities. We'll cover that as well. But basically, the main things are you can attack with an action, play a card with an action. You have to pay the energy cost as well. So spend an action, spend the energy cost. So for example, if I was going to play this dude, then it would cost me 1 energy and 1 action. Right? So you keep track, like it basically would be like I'd have this die set to the number of actions I have. You want to have a couple 10-siders for this. And then I would have this for my energy. So I'd spend my energy, just get rid of that, spend an action, and then voila! Donk Boy hits the board. And I've got this Wander out. And now he's ready to party, baby. And alongside here, you have primary, secondary. So this guy's primary. This guy's secondary, and they have legendary as well. So hold on, let me grab a legendary. Let me grab a legendary donk. Do I have a legendary donk? Okay, I do. Okay. So you've got, let's put these in proper order. You've got secondary, primary, and legendary. This determines how many copies you can play of the card in your deck. Secondary means you can play 3. Primary means you can play 2. Legendary means you can play 1. This is one of the most baffling decisions in this game. Calling them secondary when you can play 3 and primary when you can play 2. Legendary only 1 makes perfect sense. But primary and secondary are not intuitive. So you can play 3 copies, 2 copies, 1 copy in your deck. Those are the limitations, all right? When it comes to deck building. Now, with your actions, the game flow goes like this. I get to do something, you get to do something. I get to do something, you get to do something. So you can't, for example, go, I want to play a guy, now I want to attack. You can't. You played a guy, your opponent gets to do something. Or you spend an action to draw a card, you have to wait, your opponent gets to do something. And you go back and forth. Now, either player can pass when it's handed to them. So if I put out a guy and I say to you, okay, your action, and then you go pass, it bounces back to me, and I can do another thing. But if I say pass, then this round ends, okay? So that's how it goes. You take turns doing stuff until both players pass basically in a chain, where he passes, I pass, turn ends. Otherwise, I can play something, he passes, I can play another thing, he passes, I can play another thing, and then he could start playing things, because if I don't have actions, I can't do anything other than pass, really, right? So you're going to want to put out dudes so that you can seize stones. That is the basic idea, right? Now, there are other card types. We've just looked at wonders. Let's look at some other. Let's actually, hold on. I guess we're still talking about wonders. Let's also bring into the mix. This one has an on attack ability. So when you attack with this, when you declare an attack, you get to use its on attack ability, right? We've got there. Hold on. I need the 2 different versions of this. Where is the other version here? All right, let's get these guys out of here and bring these guys in. So another thing you can do with your actions are you can use tap abilities. Now, in this game, when you tap a guy, they're tapped for good. So if you tap this guy to use his ability, you don't get to untap him. But unlike in other games, tapped dudes can still attack. These guys are still relevant. Tapping just indicates that they're not going to be able to use their tap ability anymore. They never untap unless, of course, you get a card that lets you untap. But you don't, in this game, you don't start by, start a turn by untapping all your cards. That does not happen. So there's two different versions of tap abilities. There's tap action and tap free. So tap action means if you want to use this guy's tap ability, you have to spend one of your 3 actions for the turn. But a tap free ability says, you can tap me, it won't cost you an action. You still have to go back and forth. Tap free doesn't mean you get to go twice in a row. It just means it's not going to cost you one of the actions. So this guy's ability is to tap him for free, gain a free attack. So you tap him, you just get another attack to use this turn that won't cost you an action. This guy's ability is tap, spend an action, draw a card for each stone you control. So the further along you get in the game, the stronger this ability is going to be. If you have 3 or 4 stones, then you're going to draw 3 or 4 cards. You could theoretically have all 7 stones, which would be absolutely wild. When do you get more energy? You get energy at the start of every actual round. So once both players have passed and done everything they're going to do for that round, or turn, whichever terminology you prefer, then you go to the next round, okay? So basically, have we talked about all of the, have we talked about all the stuff about wonders that I want to talk about before we move on to that next step? Okay, yeah, no, I think we're good for that. So let's switch it back to the main screen so we can look at the playmat again. All right, so when it comes to this right here, like I said, you start with one realm open. So at the beginning, only the one lane is going to be open, okay? Now, once you're both done your first turn, then the second realm opens up. So the realm right beside it opens up, and you have the stone that's available in the first and the second realm, okay? Or lane, whatever's easier for your brain to remember, okay? I mean, it's called a realm in game terms, but there's 7 lanes on the board, so if that makes it easier, think about it that way. So when the second... Fuck you, camera, you dirty hooker mouth! Stop it! Fucking stop it! So when the next round starts and the lane opens up, now everybody gets energy equal to the turn. So now you've got 2 realms you're playing with. You get 2 energy plus however many stones you control. So at that point, you can only really control 1 stone. Although there's some side cases where if cards make the rules operate differently, go off what the cards say, just so you know. But under most circumstances, you're only going to be able to have 1 stone on the first turn. So on the second turn, you're either going to have 2 energy or you're going to have 3 energy, right? Because you'll be the guy who controls the stone, or you don't have the stone. One or the other. It's pretty binary. So most of the time on the second turn, you're going to have 2 energy and you're going to have, or 3 energy. All right. Oh, there is another thing that I want to cover. We'll switch back to the card down view. So once you start, as the game progresses, you're going to keep opening up more realms. More lanes are going to open up, and you can choose where you want to play your guys. Like when the second realm opens up, you don't have to play things there. You can still focus on the first lane, the first realm, if you want to keep fighting there, or you can spread your guys across. And so the more you go along in the game, the more complex it goes because you're fighting over stones in different realms and maneuvering. And remember, you only need to control more stones than your opponents. So if you're both acting like stubborn knob jockeys and you're just sticking in the first round fighting each other over that 1 stone, whoever has that 1 stone at the end of the game wins. That's it. Everyday correct. If the card breaks the rules, the card is the rules. That's how it works. So in terms of talking about energy and the cost of cards, basically, the next thing we need to discuss are the lands in the game, because these are important. So let me snag a couple of these out so that we can talk about these as well. Some correct. Every round, a new realm opens until you have all 7 realms open. And at the end of the 7th realm opening, that's when the game ends. So basically, the game is always going to be the same length in terms of the number of rounds you get. There are 7 realms. You're going to open up each realm and battle in each of the realms. And then at the end of the 7th round, the game is over. Whoever has more stones is the winner. So at first it will feel simple, and then it will start to feel more complex as you go along. One of the cool things about this game is the fact that you might think you're out of it and you stand no chance to win. But you can easily, you could be getting hosed for the first half of the game, and just out of nowhere in the middle of the game, you can just take over hardcore. It's not over until it's over. So let's talk about lands. I don't know the exact right amount of lands that you want to play in your deck. My current deck has 11 lands in it. Lands aren't automatically necessary, but you'd be foolish to not use lands, okay? So here's how lands work. They all cost 0, so you don't spend any energy to play these. They do cost an action to play. They are obviously aligned to the different orbitals. Now this matters because there are cards that have a little word called core under the symbol, right? Now they don't all have that. Notice that this guy, for example, does not say core. This guy does say core. If the card says core, you can't play the card unless you have a land out that matches the symbol, right? So basically, if this was a core card, doesn't say core, but if it was, you'd have to have out the matching land. See how they have the boundless symbol? So you need to have the appropriate land out to match it. That's what you need to do. So you can only play core cards if you have the appropriate land, which is really easy to do because you get to decide how many lands to put into your deck, and there are tons of land options. So lands, pretty much, unless they're really, really basic, have some kind of ability. So for example, this one increases everybody's maximum hand size. The normal hand size is 7 cards in the game. This adds +3 and makes it to 10. And this one says on arrival, which means when you put it out, the next item you play here this round costs 1 less. And items are another type of card that we haven't talked about yet. But this makes items cheaper. This makes your hand bigger. But the most important thing about lands is, see how down here it says boundless link, okay? What that means is you have a link to the boundless orbital. And as a result, every boundless card you play gets a reduction of 1 to its cost. So as long as you have a land out that matches your orbital, it costs 1 less to play your cards. But bear in mind that it doesn't matter how many lands you have. You can have 8 of these out. It does not give you a reduction of 8. It's just, do you have a land that gives you the link? If the answer to that question is yes, then all of your cards from that orbital cost 1 less. You only ever get a discount of 1. So that would make this guy cost 0, for example, right? So basically just remember that lands that match make all of your cards of that particular, match up the symbols. As long as those match, then you basically get a discount of 1 on all of your cards, okay? And lands have another very important ability called Harvest, which is tap this land, and remember, once you tap it, you don't get to untap it. Tap this land to harvest it. It gives you an action. So basically the idea is you can put these lands out, and then when you want to, you can harvest them for extra actions. So you can use them at the beginning of the game if you want to, which usually isn't the best idea. Later on, once you get to further rounds, let's say it's round 5, you get 5 energy just for the round. And if you control 4 stones, you have 9 energy. So you might have multiple cards you want to play or you want to attack more. And also, the interesting thing about lands too is that they kind of work a little bit differently than everything else when it comes to, you know how I said I do a thing, you do a thing, I do a thing, you do a thing. Well, when it comes to tapping creatures for their abilities, I tap a creature, then you get to go. But with lands, you can actually tap as many as you want in one go. You can harvest them all as one move. You can go, boom, I'm harvesting all of my lands, or any number. Let's say you had 4 lands out, you just want to harvest 2, you just want to harvest 1, but you're allowed to do as many as you want in one move. So it doesn't cost you like, you go, okay, I tap 1 land, you go, okay, I tap 1 land. You can literally go, blah, 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 and add a bunch of actions to your action total for that turn. But remember, can only use these once, okay? Vlogarino, you're glad I'm finally explaining how to play this game? Well, good, good. So this is how you get more actions than the standard 3 actions. Obviously, there's guys who will give you extra attacks and extra card draw, but this is just how you get more actions overall is the lands. And they give you the ability to play core cards, and they reduce the cost of your cards. So they have a bunch of utility. All right, so bear that in mind. Now, there's a couple other card types to talk about. Oh, here's an interesting creature. Actually, I want to take a moment to point this out. This counts as a stone unless it's the end of the game. So this is a wonder. This is a dude, but like he's a 4-cost, 3-power dude, but you can use him to attack and count him as a stone, which means he doesn't count for your victory total, but he does generate you an extra energy every turn. My first tournament that I played in, we were playing with like booster packs we just cracked. I cracked this guy. So I actually had him out, and I had another guy who copied him. So I basically got 2 extra energy every turn, and let me tell you, that felt pretty fucking good. All right, so, okay. There's another card type, and then we've talked about lands. Let's talk about items next. Let's get a couple of items here. All right. Okay, now we're going to talk about items. So items are basically come in 2 different flavors, 2 different varieties, I should say. You have items that you like equip to dudes, and then items that aren't for really equipping to dudes. So it's either gear for your dudes to use, gear for your wonders, or just stuff for you to use. So, for example, this is autonomous armor. This is a 2-cost, and it'll, instead of having a power pill, it'll say I for item. So this is a 2-cost item. Whenever equipped wonder battles, put a +1 counter on it. So when you play this item, you can put it on a dude. You can basically go, boom, put this out, and where there's a dude, here you go. I'm going to give it to my dude, right? If that dude dies, the item doesn't go away. It just falls on the ground, waiting for another dude to go, yo, check out this sweet armor that some dead guy's in. Hold on, I'm going to yank his body out of it and put this armor on, right? So items are reusable. You can equip them to different dudes. So you can put out new dudes in the realm where an item is and go, boom, grab the item. And then you have items like this where this one says sacrifice it for free, return target wonder you own in the abyss to this realm. So basically, this isn't for equipping to dudes because it does nothing while it's equipped to dudes. This is for just put it out, then sacrifice it. This one costs 6, so you got to wait till later to do it. But you sacrifice it, pick any dead guy who's been dead and laying around as a corpse and go, hey, dead guy, stop being dead. Come back onto the board. And so you can basically, like it says to this realm. So you put this in one of the 7 lanes, right? And then you go, bam, I sacrifice it. And all of a sudden, guess who's back? You thought I was dead, but I'm not. That kind of thing happens. So those are the 2 categories of items. 4 dudes and 4 ladies. No, 4 dudes and 4 you, okay? Doesn't need a dude. Doesn't equip to a dude to give him any bonus. Does equip to a dude to give him a bonus. I think there's way more equipped to dude stuff than there is just like do stuff. Dude stuff, do stuff. Let's make it sound as similar as possible to make it as confusing as possible. All right, so we've talked about items. Let's talk about spells. Bum, 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 bum. So unlike Magic, where like every card is considered a spell, in this game, spells are spells, okay? So we got a couple different examples of spells here. This is, and they'll say S up here for spell. So we got a 3-cost spell here that says tap up to 2 target lands or 2 target wonders. So as you can imagine, in this game where stuff doesn't untap, tapping is way stronger. You can just go, oh, those are nice guys that have tap abilities. Those are nice lands you have. Go ahead and tap them. And there's no like in response. So your opponent can't go, in response to you tapping my dudes or my lands, I use them. They literally just have to suck it. It's just like, I tap your guys, and they go, okay, I suck it. And they tap their cards, right? And then there's spells that do all kinds of stuff. This one, for example, destroys target item. If it was equipped to a guy, you get to put a number of -1 counters on that guy equal to the cost of the item. So destroy the item and hose the guy that's holding him, you know? So just so since we're talking about it, when it comes to minus counters, if you put minus counters on a guy, you need to exceed their power to destroy them. So this guy's power is 3. If you put 3 -1 counters on him, his power becomes 0. That does not kill him. You have to get this number to a negative for this guy to die. That's how the rules work in this game, okay? So, what other card types haven't we covered? I think there's really only one left that we have not covered. Yeah, okay. So, there are dudes called Stone Seekers, all right? So they'll say right here, Stone Seeker. Legendary Wonder, Stone Seeker, right? And then the guy's name is literally over here. This is the name. This is his name. What am I talking about? This is like a group. Sorry, the name's up here. Duh. So this is Dragor Bonelock. Okay, Bonelock. I always want to say Bone Clock. Okay, so this is Dragor Bone Clock, and this is Chuck Liddell, in case you were wondering. They do have like celebrity-based. They do have celebrity-based cards in this game. So Stone Seekers all have the same ability that say on play and tap for free. Create a story token in this or an adjacent realm. So when you play this guy, or when you tap him to activate his ability, you will have a little mini side deck made out of story tokens specifically for that guy, okay? So the story token for Dragor will literally say Dragor Bonelock right along here. They'll have a little feather symbol down here in the corner to show you that they're story tokens. This is a really simple one. This is Bosco, who is a legendary pig, and when he's a 1-power dude, and whenever he attacks, you put 2+1 counters on him. So when you put this guy out, you can choose one of the tokens and just put it into play. And then also when you tap him, you can choose one of the tokens and put him into play. And these Stone Seekers each have like 5 or 6 different tokens. So you have a bunch of options. And you can either play the token in the same realm that this guy is in, or an adjacent realm, which let's say this guy is in the 2nd realm. Then you can put this in the 1st realm, or the 3rd realm, or the 2nd realm. So you have like versatility in terms of where you're going to place it. So those are the different card types, right? And then, is there any other cards that I really wanted to talk about that, we'll talk about this guy too. Okay, so this one's got an ability that says enemy items in this realm are nullified. Nullify shuts off abilities. So if you have this guy out, any items across the table in the same realm are shut off. But the reason I wanted to talk about this guy is he has flying. So how flying works is when you attack with a flying creature, boom, send in for the attack. When the attack is over, you have the option to fly to a different realm. You can either go whoop over here or whoop over here. So if he's in this middle realm and he attacks, once the attack's over, you can shift him over here and you can shift him over here. Either choice is fine. Or leave him where he is. You're not required to move him. You have the option to move him. And each time you attack, it costs you an action. You are allowed to attack with the same guy. So you can literally go, spend an action to attack in this realm. Move him over here. Your opponent gets to do something. Now it's back to you. Attack in this realm. right? Cost you another action. Now move him over here or move him over here. And then in the third round, attack. So flying is really gross in this game. Do you have to tap to attack? No. Attacking does not tap, and if the guy is already tapped, can attack as normal. Tapping is really a way to indicate that the creature's ability has been used, or if your opponent forced you to tap it with a spell, it just shows you they can't use their tap ability anymore. But in every other respect, the dude is still fully in play and ready to go. Being tapped does not stop him from coming in for biscuit action. All right? So yeah, as the game progresses, you're going to open up more and more of these realms. So you're going to have first turn 1 realm, second turn 2 realms, third turn 3 realms, fourth turn 4 realms, and so on until you have 7 full realms open and you battle back and forth. At the end of the 7th turn, you go, okay, who has the most stones? That's the winner. That's the winner. So that covers the rough flow overall. You're going to want to read the cards because there are cards with a bunch of different abilities. I'll show you a couple random abilities. I'll do something more in depth talking about more abilities, but we'll show you a couple different abilities. We got this guy whose ability is on defense. This gets +2 this round, which means if your opponent's attacking, you're considered on defense. So you just get that bonus, okay? What else do we have in here? Okay. This guy, when this guy comes out, you put a shield counter on him, and you can remove a shield counter from a card to stop the card from being targeted or destroyed. Okay, so that's what shield counters are for. And then, what else? What else? What else? Okay, here's a guy. He has an ability called on round end. So once everybody's done everything they're going to do, then on round abilities trigger. So at the end of the round, right, before you move to the next realm, do on round end abilities. Okay, here we go. Death Strike. Now remember when I said that dudes don't die in combat? This is the exception to that rule. Death Strike. Death Strike is an ability that I think mostly only shows up on this particular orbital Umbra theme, but there are some other guys who aren't particularly this group. But Death Strike works like this. When you attack in this game, you attack with everybody all at once. So if you have like all these guys out, when you go attack, they just go squad and they run in together. Okay? Now, if you have more power or are tied, so if you have more power than your opponent or you're tied for the amount of power, then Death Strike kicks in and you get to pick one of your opponent's guys and destroy them, which is very potent because getting rid of dudes in this game is harder. You tend to have like special abilities that will destroy guys. So being able to attack with Death Strike is gross. A flying creature with Death Strike is some of the craziest shit I can think of because you can just fly from realm to realm and take away their best guy in each fight. But that only works if you have a higher power, right? You have to, or an equal power. So if you're just weaker, you got to maneuver into it. But Death Strike is definitely a strong ability. All right. Is there anything else in this pile that is relevant for our discussion? No? Okay. Cool. All right. So I guess what we can do is also show the 6 different symbols from the 6 different groups, right? And tell you their names. Okay, and we just need one more, and we've got them all. Where are you? There it is. Okay, so these are the 6 different orbitals. If you're interested in kind of the philosophy and flavor behind them, There's an earlier video on this channel. What is it called here? Hold on. It's called Wonders of the First Beginner's Guide. What should you play? So if you want to know what which orbital might appeal to you from a what they're about, what they stand for, or what they kind of specialize in, then you can check that video out. So the 6 orbitals are Petraea, which is a kind of nature-aligned big beefy boy orbital. Okay. Orbitals are what the different groups are called. So Petraea is this symbol right here. You've got Umbratheme. This is your basically dark death decay sort of version, right? You've got Heliosynth. This is a world full of like biosynths. It's a giant desert world. Each orbital, just so you know, is like an entirely different world. All right, then you've got Thalwind. So this is like water-based creatures, air-based creatures, and this is the trixiest color. This is the trixiest orbital. It has the most finicky cards. It's a challenge. It's a challenge to, like, they've got the ability to really kind of muck about with things, but it's hard to, it's one of the more difficult ones to master. Then you've got Sulfera. This is the land of lava and fire and dragons. And then you've got Boundless. This is Boundless. And they are more ethereal creatures, crazy, angelic, otherworldly beings. And these guys specialize in winning at the end of the game. There are a bunch of dudes in Boundless that have crazy abilities that all kick in on the very last turn. So for the entirety of the game, they're just kind of normal guys. And then on the last turn, they go, fuck it, it's time to while out. And they kick in with crazy abilities. So actually the first game I ever played of Wonders, like ever, when I was introduced to the game, was using Boundless. And the shit they do in the last turn is pretty sweet. So at this point, I think that I've covered like a basic flow. You build a 50 card deck. You want to have a bunch of dudes, like a bunch of dudes, because that's what you're mostly going to use to attack with. Some items to help them out, some spells that feel appropriate, and then like maybe a dozen lands in the deck to give you extra actions and to give you the orbital links. And if I was you, I would stick to playing 1 or 2 colors tops to start out with, because the more you spread out, the more challenging it's going to get, right? But that's basically the flow of it. Do you guys have questions about anything that I have discussed? Is there anything you would like me to elucidate upon? Oh, what a fancy word. What a fancy boy I am. Yamagoro, Heliosynth kind of felt like early Star Wars to you. Heliosynth is the orbital that I play right now. I've got an item heavy deck. My deck is very item heavy. It's based around the Techno Historian. So the Techno Historian is this guy right here. He is a 3-cost, 3-power Heliosynth guy who says items cost you 1 less energy to play from your hand. So he makes all my items cost 1 less. My deck has a ton of items in it. Just so you know, my deck is not good. My deck is not good. It's pulled in a bunch of different directions because I just crammed a ton of crazy items into it. Because I was like, I want to go ham and do all kinds of crazy stuff. It's not a good deck. It's not a good deck. Yamagoro, the designers recommend something like 6 lands. I have no idea. Is that true? Or are you just making stuff up? I don't know. Do most people monocolor decks? I don't think so. But there's no like, there's not like most people for this game yet anyways. The game is still in its infancy, right? So for me, I'll be honest. I haven't spent time trying to figure out what the absolute best things to do in the game are because I'm trying to have the same kind of fun that I have when I started playing Magic, for example, where it's more just like what excites you? What do you think is fun? Because if you just rush to build the best, most tournament ready deck to kick people's teeth in, then you're going to miss out on playing with most of the cards. So where's the fun in that? You know, I mean, obviously the fun is if you want to win. I get that. And if you're coming to play in the highest level of competitive event, cool. But I'm not playing that way. I'm playing for enjoyment. So it's really like, what feels right to you? What feels right to you? There's no card that just says like hose all Thalwind or hose all Boundless. So if you choose to just play one orbital, you're not just going to get hosed automatically by that. But I think it's probably smarter to pick two orbitals that you think are complementary. That being said, my deck is just straight up Heliosynth, right? So Yamagoro, they have a short deck building video on YouTube. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, this is my version. So fuck you. How about that? How about that? I said, do you have any questions about the game? I didn't say contradict me in the fucking comment section, did I? Did I, Yamagoro? I asked if you had questions. I asked if people had questions. They didn't ask you. They're not asking you. Shut your fucking mouth. I know you're trying to be helpful, but I don't care. I'm yelling at you, bitch. Every day looks like a fun game. Yeah, bro. Honestly, they invited me down to try it out. I didn't know what it was going to be like because you never know with a new game, how is it going to go? And like me and my buddy Double Strike went down and played. And in the first game, I was just like, oh, this is actually a legitimate game. Like, because you never know, right? I was worried that because I got to play, like, before the game officially released, I got to play it, and I was playing with the first printed product. So, like, the whole team who had made the game was basically all standing around watching me play. I was like a fucking bug under glass, man. It felt like, okay, kind of intense right now. But, so I was sitting there going, okay, if this game is no good, I'm going to have to still be polite. I don't want to hurt these people's feelings. And then I played it and was just like, oh no, this is actually pretty cool. Okay, sweet. And Double Strike, when we were going down to the event, he was saying, I'll play this game with you. We'll have a fun weekend or whatever. And then when it's over, I'll just give you the cards. And I'm like, cool, buddy. You know what I mean? Works for me. But within 24 hours, Double Strike completely changed his tone. And he's like, yo, I'm bringing this all back for my group of friends that I play other games with. I'm going to build decks for everybody. He went full tilt, and he still is full tilt. Double Strike is more into the game than I am. He plays in online tournaments. He travels to pretty much every tournament that he can. He got top 8 in one recently. Like, Double Strike is full on into this game. And me and him were talking about it after the first event we went to. And he was saying, bro, this feels like the early days of Magic. I was like, I know, doesn't it? It's fun. It's fun. Lasagna, your question is all you do is fight? Well, I mean, no. Remember how I showed you other cards? So no, that's not all you do. But it is the main way to seize stones. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Yamagoro, it is useful that you pointed out that they have a deck building video on their channel. I will create my own, I suppose, at some point. But yeah, right now my deck has like 11 lands in it, so I don't know. I just kind of went off the starter decks that I was given, and I just went, okay, this is how much they have in them, so I'll just roll with that. But there are people playing this at a much higher competitive level, and you can find their deck lists. So you can emulate those if you want, right? Are there any alternate ways to win? No. There's no alternate ways to win, which is good. Because one of the things I like about this game is the fact that it will always go to 7 turns. One of the things that I found incredibly frustrating about Magic, for example, is the games have become way too quick. Way too quick. Like, the game's decided by the second or third turn, and you're just like, okay, like, we both know this is going to end on turn 4, and there's no coming back. Magic didn't used to be like that. Like, literally, when I would play on Arena, I started playing with the starter decks, because I was so sick of how fast standard got. I'm not looking for a turn 3 win. That's like vintage level shit where it's like, I want to play a game and have a build up and a back and forth, not just you know what I mean? So that's what I hate about current era Magic is the fact that it's over right away. Right away. You always get 7 turns. The game will always give you a full 7 turns. You're never fully out of this game. You can make a comeback. Is there multiple ways to lose? I don't know what happens if you run out of cards in your deck, but I don't even know if that's possible. I don't even know how you draw enough cards to run out of your deck. But Shelton, it just feels like you're trying to be sneaky. Some asks, is there other ways to win? And you're like, what other ways to lose? What's the difference? If there's no alternate ways to win, how can there be alternate ways to lose, huh? So yeah, I played the starter decks on Arena because I wanted to actually have a game that lasted. And even then with the starter decks, the game could easily be over on the 5th or 6th turn. And that was a long game, right? Like, it's just like, and 7 turns, like the first turn is a lot faster. You don't have to decide what realm to play in. But as realms open up, when you have 4 different realms open, which realm do you want to play cards into? Where are you going to try and seize stones? Are you going to try and consolidate strength more in a realm you're already in? Or are you going to try and move into that new realm, right? It's interesting. It's interesting. There's more decision space than you think in this. Like, yes, it does come down to a lot of attacking, but where are you going to attack? With whom, right? Like, okay, I've got a big guy to put out. Do I want to put it over here and consolidate my strength so that I can make sure I keep the stone here? Or seems like nothing's really going on over here. Let's move in over here. Or do I want to put a weak guy over here? Do I want to maneuver my dudes around? You know? Lasagna, I wouldn't look for an additional way to win. That's the whole point. I personally don't think that would be a good addition to the game. I think one of the strengths is the fact that you are guaranteed 7 rounds of gameplay. I've literally seen games where it's like turn 5 or 6, you're sure one person's going to win, and then the other one does. Like, this is a game where legitimately you can feel like you're down and out, you can turn it around. You absolutely can. Millmaster, did you go and look up the rules? If at any time a player's 50-card deck runs out of cards, that player immediately loses the game. Well, that could be the rule. I don't know. I don't even know how you'd get there. I genuinely don't know how you'd get there. You only have 7 rounds. You have 3 actions per round. You draw 1 card. So you start with 7 cards. You got 43 cards left in your deck. If you spend 3 actions each time across 7 rounds, that's still just 21 more cards. So you've drawn 28 cards out of your 50 cards. There aren't that many cards that draw cards or whatever. Yeah, Magoro, it's all good, buddy. Don't worry. I'm just fucking with you, man. I'm just fucking with you. I don't care. You're just trying to tell people. You're just trying to tell people that there's a how to build your deck thing, bro. You should know better than to take my yelling fucking seriously. Come on, man. How many streams have you been to? And how many times have I yelled at you? This is what we fucking do. This is what I'm known for. Must I show you the wheel? Remember, you thought Double Strike's first deck at the Shattering was a mill deck. No, bro. He built a fucking Jorambe deck. Jorambe is a wonder with the ability, it says tap, destroy target stone. It just destroys a stone. Like permanently. So he's playing against somebody and he taps and destroys a stone, and they were just like, Did you just destroy part of the win condition? He's like, yup. That's what he was all about. He got so into the game that the Shattering, when we were going to the main Shattering event, he was tired and he said, I'm going back to my room to get some sleep. And so then by the time the Shattering rolled around, I was like, how'd you sleep? And he said, I didn't sleep. I stayed up and I built a deck. And he literally built himself a Jorambe deck because he's a maniac. Is it possible to use all actions in the first round? Yes, because you can spend actions to draw cards, to attack, and to play cards. So you can play a land, You can play something that costs 0 because you have an orbital link. Like if you have multiple cards that cost 1, if you have the appropriate land that links to that, those now cost 0. So you could play something that costs 1 reduced to 0 and something that costs 2 reduced to 1 and draw a card. Like you can definitely use all your actions every single turn. No, just because you can spend them to draw cards. Lasagna, what happens if you destroy all the stones? Then it's a draw because nobody has the most stones. So yeah, he's a maniac. That Jarambe shit is hilarious. I actually have he made me a little 3D printed Jarambe. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is. But you know what? I do have oh fuck. Move a box of cards. Cards spill out. That's never a good thing. Okay, I do have my existence cards right here. If you want to build one giant castle on the spot and kill the other 6 stones, you can do it. But here's the thing: I'll show you Jarambe, so we can talk about the challenges that are involved with this. All right. Which end has the mythics? I think it's this end. Okay, let's go Black Hawk down, but with the camera. Okay, here we go. There he is. This is Jarambe. 10 cost, 10 power, tap action, destroy target stone. If this leaves play, banish it. So if he leaves play, he dies. He destroys stones. So you tap him to destroy a stone. Remember, I said dudes don't untap. So you need a way to untap this guy. Every time, you have to have multiple ways to untap him and use him to destroy stones. There is actually a dude from the new set. I think I've got her in this stack somewhere. Hold on. Let me see. That would combine really well. You got to get up to 10 energy to get Jarambe out, which is really expensive. Where is it? Where is that one fucking crazy card? Oh, here she is. She is also a mythic. On round end, you can tap or untap target wonder. So you can untap this at the end of each round. Gross. Millmaster, you can't bounce him because of the second clause. Correct. Is this the only card that destroys stones? Yes. This is the only card that destroys stones. Unless they made a new card in the new set and I just don't know. So at most there's 2 cards that destroy stones, tops. Jarambe. All right. Are there other questions that you guys have about anything that I've discussed? I feel like that's a pretty good rough and ready set of instructions overall, you know? Lasagna, it is a massive trolley way to play. It was hilarious. He spent like most of the first Shattering event just messing people up with Jarambe. He was having a field day. How fast do you find energy builds up? Do you have 3, then 4 quickly, or does it build slow? Well, I mean, it increases every turn based on the number of turns and then the number of stones you have. So, I mean, there were games where I literally had absurd amounts of energy. I couldn't even spend it all. So, the first couple of turns are a little bit slower, and then it really starts to ramp the fuck up, you know? especially if things go your way and you manage to snag a number of stones, or you have alternate cards that, like in the newest set, they have created extra cards that count as stones, and they give you more stone power. So you can really like ramp up. And then there's cards that give you energy as well, like just straight up cards that individually grant you energy. Millmaster, you want to make a pirate ship shark merfolk deck? Yeah, bro, there's definitely a bunch of pirate stuff, including a cool land that every time your opponent passes, you get to make a one power pirate token. So you can definitely make a pirate shark deck. That is totally doable. That's totally doable. Lasagna, you want to go Harambe all the way. It is a hilarious strategy. I have almost a complete playset of the first set, and I'm like 20 something mythics away from a playset of the second set. Balancing actions and energy feels like it's important. What does it feel like in the game? I mean, every day at first you feel kind of energy starved, and that feels like more of the holdback. As you go along, actions will feel like more of the holdback, or perhaps not having enough cards in your hand. But that's also where the actions come in. So later on, having more lands that can net you a bunch of actions can be really sweet, because at the beginning, you don't have energy to play your big cards, but once you start to get to a certain threshold of energy, you're like, I can play so many cards, but I can only use 3 actions a turn, so I'm going to play 3 cards, right? So it changes as you go along. Some for round 1, could you use all 3 action points to draw 3 cards and pass and hope you can recover later? Yeah, and absolutely you could too. The game's not going to get stolen from you on the first round. Like, if you don't do anything on the first round, you're probably going to have to discard those. So if you're trying to build up your hand, there is that. You know what I mean? Like, you will have to discard back down to 7 at the end of the turn. So you would be sculpting your hand. If you wanted to get cards into your discard pile, into your abyss, then whatever. But like, yeah, it doesn't matter. If the first round doesn't go your way, big whoop. Like, the second turn, you still get 2 energy instead of 3 because you don't control the stone, and you just go from there. So it never feels like you're out of this game. Or maybe it might in like the most competitive environment if you really know the meta and your opponent's like doing really well. But the games that I've played, I've never felt locked out. Any favorite cards besides the Historian? Well, I really like that guy who counts as a stone that I showed you. There's another dude who was sweet. He's a 3 power guy, and when he comes into play, you can pick any other 3 power guy, and he permanently gains his abilities. So I had out the guy who counts as a stone, and then I played this other 3 power guy and copied that guy's ability. But on top of being able to copy an ability, the guy who comes out and copies also goes put 3 -1 counters on a guy. So I got to go, I'll put this guy out, I copy my stone guy. By the way, put -3 on your guy. Loved that. Fucking loved that. There was also a dude who like tapped to make multiple token creatures and then also gave them a bonus. So he's like, tap, make 2 1 power dudes. Also, I give +2 power to those 1 power dudes. So it's tap, make 2 3 power guys. It was like, boom, right? There's honestly a bunch of cool cards. And the new set, spoiler season, should be starting soon, and I'm going to be getting access to some spoilers to show off. Every day, I don't have a particular celebrity that I want to see them do. I find their random selections to be, like, entertaining. Yeah, I look and I'm like, okay, we got Mike Tyson, Ian McKellen, Alyssa Milano. Like, it's all over the place. Although I did know that Ian McKellen was coming. I get to know some background stuff. Now, I told them I wouldn't reveal anything. So I keep my secrets close to my vest. I don't have a vest, so I just keep them under my shirt like a fat boob. You know what I mean? But this is where my secrets are. There's my secret nipple. It's weird. It points off to the other direction. You know why? Because I'm not going to point it at you because I'm not going to reveal nothing to you. So it points off to the side where I keep my secrets. But yeah, I knew Ian McKellen was going to be a part of this because I found that out back in February, actually. So I've known for like 5 months. I actually was sent a preview list of like for the second set. I was sent a preview list of like what all the cards' abilities were going to be and everything. But I actively didn't read it because I find it more exciting to read the cards out of the packs and stuff. So I will do spoilers. Like if they send me spoiler cards, I'll do those because I get to see the cards. But just being sent like a text list of everything that's going to be in there, I purposefully like only looked at like the stuff to go, you can make flavor text submissions, right? So I was like, I'm going to submit a bit of flavor text, but I only did it for one card. And then I just kept the rest secret from myself so I could experience the fun of cracking packs and going, what the hell's this do? What the hell's this do? What the hell's this do? Because I like that. I enjoy that journey of discovery. Now I'll sacrifice part of that to be like a spoiler guy. So as they send, they're going to send me spoilers for the new set and I'll cover them. Last time they sent me 6 mythics. So I got to do a fat mythic. They don't send me the cards. They send me the card images. So Vloggerino, I don't need to have it checked out by a medical professional. I have complete control over my physical form. Like one of those fucking highly trained Tibetan monks. Lasagna wants you to be his doctor, Vloggerino. Recommend that he be sterilized and destroyed like a test monkey. Have him shaved, sterilized, and incinerated. Oh, Vloggerino says, I just want a good man to take care of, so I'm sorry I can't. Ouch. Ouch. That's brutal. Wow, she really shut you down, bro. She really shut you down. So yeah, any other questions you guys have on what I've discussed, or does that all feel pretty straightforward? Every day. Okay, come on, man. That's terrible. That's a terrible joke, buddy. You should be ashamed of yourself. Oh, so yeah, that's the basics. That's the basics. We can do other streams where we go over like all the different abilities that exist and all this kind of stuff. But I think that's a good basic flow overall, you know? At some point I'll do a more straightforward, like straight up video that succinctly goes through everything. Joglum says, thanks for showing us the game. Sounds even cooler now. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed, buddy. I'm glad you enjoyed. I know that I showed cards off before and you guys didn't have as much context. So going forwards, hopefully that helps. Every day, any recommendations on what to buy? There is a 2-player starter kit from the first set. I don't know how readily available they are at this time. I know at one point they were available at Target. So, yeah, the starter kit is very straightforward. They had starter decks as well for the first set. Oh, man. Oh. Yeah. So I'd say start with the starter decks, or if you know anybody who actually like has some cards or whatever, there's like a lot of the people who seem to have it have a ton of extra stuff, like commons and uncommons or whatever. You could also, depending on where you are, make your way to the next Shattering event and get your hands on stuff in South Carolina come October. Hmm. Hmm. All right. Well, you know what? I think that we covered everything pretty well. So thanks for coming and hanging out with me for my basic flow of a Wonders game stream. And I will get back together with you guys for another stream very, very soon.